lots to do on our end.
So, share a little bit more about your prospect last night and in terms of, I know this is somebody you've been working on and um, kind of led with this collaborative approach. And I know I've been having this conversation with a couple of guys on this call. So like, what I know you're doing most of your client meetings on your own, but obviously you found value there and maybe just talk people through your insights there.
Yeah, so both the husband and wife have been friends of mine for probably over 5 years now. So I've known them for quite a while, and the kind of talked to them independently. They only got married 4 months ago, so they got married a month before I did. But when they were not dating, at some point, the wife had approached me, and she became a client. So she's been a client of mine for about 3 to 3.5 years now. And simultaneously, I had been getting to know the husband as just a friend, and the topic kind of came up, and he definitely like vocalized that he's kind of a do-it-yourselfer and has kind of gotten this stuff taken care of. And so I just kind of said, "Hey, not a problem," and fast forward here now, they've gotten married, and leading up to their wedding, the three of us sat down and we had kind of talked about some of the stuff that I've been doing, and they had questions. And it was pretty obvious that the husband has some money. And so I had said, "Hey, I just want to let you know, hey, we work together as a team. And so I think you're going to find a lot of value in meeting my business partner." And this was probably back in January. And here we are at the end of July. And we had all kind of agreed that it made sense probably around summertime to reach back out, scheduled the meeting about a month ago. But throughout that whole process, just kind of teed up the ability to say, "Hey, I'm 9 years in, I know quite a bit, but also I work with someone who's been here 25 years. And I think you're going to find a lot of value and merit in him sitting down with us and the four of us working together." And I think coming into then last night's meeting, it was really easy for them to get to meet Tyson, and it made a whole lot of sense. And I think by having that uh, ability change the dynamic of the meeting. Instead of them kind of auditing their friend being me, it was auditing our process as a
Dynamic
team.
right there. Say that one more time. I love that.
So they weren't auditing me as a friend, they were auditing our process.
Yeah. So one thing I think that we've overcome, I have a couple thoughts I want to share with the group because I just want you guys to know that I have very similar conversations with each of you one on one, in terms of the nature of the conversation, the challenges, the opportunities, all of that. And there's just a couple feelings I have. So one of those feelings is I don't have data to point to you. I don't have a chart I can show you guys, but I'm just telling you anecdotally, um, money is up for grabs right now. Like I've never seen it before. I've just never seen it like this. And I think some of that's a combination of experience and time and relationships, but it's more than that because Joe Kaiser's running into great opportunities and Ryan's consistently running into opportunities and Alex consistently bringing to the table. I got money just like raining from the sky coming at me. I get back from Mexico last week and right after I had this $500,000 appointment with Alec, I had a new couple walk in on a referral that put $600,000 on the table and said, "Please help us." I mean, it's just walking in the door. So two comments. Number one, don't be satisfied with that. If you're satisfied with only what comes across your doorstep on a referral relationship basis, you're just going to grow at a very limited pace, and you're going to grow at the pace of, the waves or the ups and downs of business. The ebbs and the flows, and you want to have more control than that. I wanted to ride the wave in business, and that ties in ironically a lot to our signage and branding and all of that. I've been talking with Bill a lot about branding and he just loves the office that we've put together. And I think that's going to transfer to some stuff they do with WealthWave, using this as an example. But when I think about my business, it's waves. You guys, sometimes I have waves of picking up lots of assets, and then I have waves of like just seemingly I identify some great life insurance cases, and then all of a sudden I get a batch of recruits, and it's just my business has never looked like every month I go for 2 recruits and 3 life sales and 5 IRAs. Like I don't, it's just not going to look like that. And so what you've got to think about is what can I do on a daily basis to try to keep these waves coming, right? And consistent input will yield consistent output on a quarterly or certainly on an annual basis. But I'm trying to push you guys to understand that like this is the goal. We are in the gold rush. I mean, you have forces at play right now that have never been at play to these levels. So number one, we are right at the peak of baby boomers retiring. And so there are absolutely more people that are getting close to 59 and a half, close to 60, close to 65. There's just more people than there's ever been that are having these like, we need to think about how we're going to start Social Security and what am I doing with my 401k and when am I going to, what year am I going to exit my teaching career? Like those conversations are just happening all around you right now. And so it's a right market. Number two, we're in a massive bull market and it's gotten people's attention and people are all of a sudden starting to pay more attention. And I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I've had multiple clients come in. I mean, I picked up $900,000 from a new client the week before I went to Mexico. And they come in and they basically, I mean, it's just a total mess in terms of just woefully mismanaged. Great people, couldn't be better people, but their money has just been woefully mismanaged, largely by themselves. Just busy doing other things, out of sight, out of mind. Just, I'm sure it's doing something. I mean, it wasn't half of it wasn't even in like target date funds. It was just in core mutual funds and stocks. Yeah, like a third of their portfolio in cash, didn't even know it. Like this stuff is absolutely everywhere, you guys. And so I just want to tell you, like, these opportunities don't last for long. I don't know if this lasts 3 more months or 3 more years, but it doesn't serve you to believe it's going to last more than a month. And if it's a gold rush, I mean, I want to strike while the iron's hot. I want to gather as many assets I can in this new era. I mean, we've got FMAX, we've got Fidelity. We're going to have John Fonash here on Thursday. I know most of you will be at, and I think that's going to be a great training. So I'm super optimistic about that platform. And there's going to be some pain points. There's going to be a learning curve. But I mean, my learning, if for me to get to where I would consider myself a master of that platform, I'm probably 40% there. But like 2 months ago, I think I was at 10%, just kind of making those numbers up. And it's just by getting immersed in it, by setting up accounts, playing with it, looking at accounts as they get funded, running different reports, looking, and John's going to be great on Thursday, taking us into, navigating things and simplifying things. And he'll even customize some of your dashboards for you, like he's done for me, on the spot. Like he's just really good at that stuff. And so, you guys, we just have all of these things happening. And I'm telling you, what you do right now could set your family up for years. I mean, what I've done years ago in my business has put me in a position where, the force of compounding has taken over to a shocking level. What's happening to my savings, what's happening to my income, what's happening to my relationships, and the amount of referrals I receive, like everything in my life is compounding in a positive direction. That doesn't mean everything in my life is like perfect, or I mean, we still have challenges, things like that, and a lot of measurables, right? Because I have the same finite amount of time every week that I can put into my business, but the amount of measurables, right? Savings, net worth, relationships, assets under management, cash flow from the business, bonus checks, everything you can imagine is just compounding and getting bigger. It has a life of its own. And so this is one of those moments, you guys. And there are some moments where I think they're peak recruiting moments. And I think you can always recruit people. There's always dissatisfied people. And I don't know if we're in peak recruiting right now, but we're certainly in a robust recruiting environment, because I think job dissatisfaction is an all-time high. We talked about that a few weeks ago. And so we need to just not operate under the assumption that everybody is just satisfied because they're making 90 grand a year. Like they might hate their life. They might hate their schedule, but it might take a little bit of relationship. It might take a few meetings to open them up and get them comfortable and sharing about, tell me what's really going on at your job, and have you ever considered a non-core career? And so that could be a separate discussion. But the last thing I want to share here The opportunity is right. The market environment's right. We're in a gold rush. But I think, and I was telling Joe this yesterday, I'm just telling you guys, I'll put up what we do for the client with anybody in our area. Like I won't say there's not other people that are also doing elite work, high quality of service, great advice, great platforms, great portfolio design, all of that, because there are. But we're in a limited class of people that are at the cutting edge of this industry, because part of that is character, part of that, and that was Alex Prospect asked that question last night, and he's like, well, he asked if I was a CFP, and I mean, it's almost like he Googled like what to ask a financial advisor, right? He kept referring to his phone. And ChatGPT must have told him to ask if they're a CFP, and is that box a yes or no? Okay, move on to next question. And I just told him, listen, I'm not, and I told him why I'm not, which I could go into that. But the reality is, I'm like, but I'll stand behind 25 years of building a relationship-based business that grows faster than I can keep up with. So somewhere along the way, I've added a lot of value to people's lives. And saying that with conviction, with eye contact, obviously was enough to check that box. But I think our collaborative approach sets us apart, and that's a uniqueness, you guys. And I think that's easy to take for granted. But this is a team sport, and you guys, for years, I was telling, I think it was Joe yesterday, it could have been Alec, but I mean, for my first 10 to 15 years in my business, I was so accustomed to always pointing to people bigger than me. So I think if it was like a recruiting, candidate, I was constantly talking about mentors I have access to. And by the way, I still do. Sometimes I'll point to pictures on the wall, or I'll just tell people like, hey, my mentors used to be at a distance, and then I got access to them. And then many of them have become close friends, and we've traveled together. I know their families and their kids and their wives, and my wife knows their wives, and it's like that's just people want that. That is a very attractive thing to talk to people about. And so I'm always pointing to what I'm connected to, the power of our platform and all this kind of stuff. And if it's a client, it's I to this point I'm not comfortable. I don't think it's effective for me to try to tell somebody how smart I am or just take my word for it. I'm pointing to access to knowing money managers and knowing, top people at my firm, multiplied by my experience. And then I'll refer to our collaborative approach. And I think when people walk into our office, obviously it's an immediate impression. That's already been well documented. I mean, the feedback I've gotten from our grand opening from friends and from clients and from people are just blown away by the facility, the credibility that we have in this spot, in this location is impossible to measure. But then on top of that, the collaborative approach. And there's what we've created, you guys. I mean, some of you can relate with me. You've all gone out to dinner or a restaurant probably hundreds of times in your life. But I bet each of you can remember maybe 2, 3, 4, like really meaningful, like I remember that dinner. Like maybe it was probably like a fancy restaurant, maybe it was a unique venue, but it stands out from like Applebee's and all the times you run through Chipotle. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many times I've gone through Chipotle, right? Because it's not memorable, right? But I vividly remember certain dinners I've been to in Hawaii or Vegas or maybe around here. And I just want you to think about what is the client experience or what is the prospect experience when they walk into this place, right? They walk in and it's the venue is cool, right? But then the experience, the service, it's comfortable. We make people very comfortable when they walk in. And I'm just telling you, a lot of people, we take that for granted, but a lot of people, they're used to walking into very nondescript offices that are boring, that they have like pictures of the stock market graph on their wall and like all their certifications, or they're in some sleepy office park, or they're they're Edward Jones guy. They walk in and like they're it's just a different deal. And I'm telling you guys, we need to lean into that. And if I were you guys and I was thinking about, okay, how can I leverage the resources that I have to build my family business, so if I'm wanting to build the Ryan Wagner family business that I own, Ryan's very proud of his ownership of that. obviously with his Zoom line. But the idea is I'd be thinking about, man, the more I can rope in a senior partner, the more meetings I can get in this office. I know some of you aren't here geographically, but the idea is, you could do similar things in your own area. I've put a lot of time and energy thinking into what somebody's experience, because I've been saying forever, you guys, people decide to do business with you in the first 20 minutes, maybe the first 10 minutes of the first meeting. And they may not know it, but I'll bet you everything on that. Now maybe there's 10, we're talking nothing's 100%, but on a bell curve of like, I'm going to tell you 80-90% of people that you do business with, they will decide whether they're going to work with you or not in the first 10 minutes of the first meeting. And I'm telling you, like Alec, I talked to Alec last night because I had my appointment right after. I called him, and I'm like, yeah, we got them. Like, it's done. Like, there's work to do. We got at least 2 more meetings ahead of us. But I'm telling you, they subconsciously bought us as dispensers of advice last night. And same thing happened in my meeting right after that. First time I've ever met these people in my life, and like, I guarantee you, like, I'll be managing all their money within the next 10 days. And so that's the power of what you guys are connected to. And so I would just put thought into that. And if that makes it easier for you to pick up the phone and contact somebody, if that makes it easier to reach out to somebody that you think is out of your league, trust me, they're not out of this league, right? They're just not, and you guys, I mean, we have, collectively, including me, we have some very, very high net worth clients in very powerful positions in this community and outside of it. Like, guys, we are capable of handling anybody that's out there. We've got the tech, the tools, the advice, the people. And so use that as a confidence builder, and let's go. Let's up our contacting, and let's take advantage of this gold rush. So I weaved a little bit of my personal updates in that soliloquy there. But does that make sense to you guys? I'll tell you what I worry about, guys. I worry that as a team, we're too passive. I worry that we're a little too content with good, that we're walking right past great. And I'm just telling you, if I have anything to offer you guys, it's the benefit of experience and hindsight. Man, Lee and I had a lot of time to talk on our trip last week. And I said, those early years were tough. And, we talked about all kinds of little nuances and, mini stories of that. But I'm like, man, to be in our 40s and control our destiny forever in every aspect of our life, I just wouldn't trade it for anything. There's just nothing I wouldn't do. There's just nothing I wouldn't do, because it's the inverse of everybody I know. Everybody I know that had it easier in their 20s, that got the job, got the company car, got the immediate salary, immediate predictability, started building up retirement funds at 22, 23, 24, feels like they're ahead of me. I feel like I'm at 30 years old. I'm way behind, right? Like, they're all in a position where maybe they make like 130 grand right now. They're stuck in a job they hate. They can only save so much. They got a mortgage. They got car loans. They got kids. They don't know how they're going to finance college. They're freaking stuck. And here we are, so free. Guys, you're sitting on great, but you gotta wrap it up and take advantage of it. And I'll come on at the end and talk about a couple events we got coming up. But man, you guys, this, if anything I can share with you guys, this is a time to up the intensity moment right now, and take advantage of that. So anybody have anything else they want to add to that or share?
I think you pretty much covered it.
Well, Joe, so since you got your mic working, I mean, just yesterday, you don't have to provide tons of details, but you've got a high value prospect that you've just been kind of like keeping in your back pocket for about a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, like, wait a minute, you still haven't called. So Joe brings up this guy, and I spent probably 15, 20 minutes talking about exactly how I'd approach this particular guy. And he's like, that's great, I'll do it. And then like yesterday, he's in my office, and I'm like, wait a minute, you still haven't called that guy? And so you can finish the story. What did you do?
Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago. We had that conversation and I called him and I said, something along the lines of, um, some things that are, available to you that you're not getting in your, your retail 401k type stuff. But basically I just alluded to what you said. I said, there's a value here, an added value to you to come in and have us sit down with one of my senior partners and just take a look at some options that would better serve you in the long run. Didn't really get into the nooks and crannies of, different products and things like that. But, and then he said that he was skeptical. And then so that opened a door for me to just follow up and say skeptical about what? And he said, well, there's just a lot of moving parts and all the laws that go along with all this stuff and da 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 da. And that was an easy segue for me to just say, well, the good thing is I don't know everything there is to know about it either, but I'm connected to people that do. So that's the added value to you. And his response was basically, it would be stupid for me to not come in and have that conversation.
There's a couple things I'm going to say. So number one, I've talked to you guys about, I'm not hanging this deal up until we're at least $1 billion team. I'll never hang this up, but I mean, there'll be levels of like downshifting, right? And, we're at probably 160, 170 right now, I'm guessing. Somewhere in that ballpark, plus or minus 10 million. So we got a little room to grow, but the power of compounding, I got something I'm not prepared to show you guys, but something I'm working on for a future talk is shocking when you look at it a certain way, and so we're closer to $1 billion than it might sound. Let me put it this way: if we're at 150 million, 150 million is 15% of $1 billion in terms of like a math equation, but we're way closer than 15% on a compounded level. I would argue we're probably closer to like 30 or 35% towards $1 billion. Because the nature of compounding, once you get to 600 million, 700 million, that next 100 million becomes even quicker than the last 100 million, and so on and so forth, right? So we are absolutely going to be there, and that's just a fun benchmark, and we'll do something to celebrate that at some stage down the road, and we'll celebrate a bunch of benchmarks along the way, right? But how if you're attached to a rocket ship that's on a way to $1 billion enterprise, like, how much of that rocket ship do you want to take advantage of? Like, are you hitching your family's rocket ship to that thruster? That's what I'd be thinking about. And I'd be thinking about, we're talking a lot about me in terms of, getting people in front of me, but that's only for the time being until eventually we got more than me in that capability. Because right now we've got, I put Alec and Ryan up. I mean, they're fully capable of closing virtually any client totally on their own. They've proved it, and they'll even be more seasoned in the next 2 or 3 years. And then we have more kind of master field trainers. And, I want to keep building this network. I don't want this to run just through my schedule, and you don't need to get everybody in front of me, but there's no prospect that you can't put in front of me. I mean, you could bring any CEO in the city or any doctor or anybody that you think's a big shot. I mean, we can handle it. I promise you, and we can get results. And it's hard for me to quantify. Like, you don't like. It just takes time. It just takes experience, guys. It's taken me 25 years to be able to, be in this position. I remember there's a money manager we used to do business with a long time ago, and they came out with it. At one point, they had a 10-year track record. That was like a really good track record, and he said something on a call once that just sounds so basic, but yet it's so profound. And he's like, it takes 10 years to produce a 10-year track record. I mean, everybody wants to show you, hey, look what we did last year, or look how good we've done since this last crash, or look at this one time period I want to cherry pick. But like, I'll show you everything over 10 years. Like, it takes 10 years. And you guys, that experience works the same way. So while you're picking up that experience, man, let's just go after some big fish on the client side and the recruiting side. Because if we're big enough to handle, I mean, I just don't know a whole lot of people that would say, yeah, I just don't think that income's impressive enough for me to take a look at that business. Like, when they look at what I've been able to do, and they look at what we produce as a company, and we got many people on the same path, guys, we can go recruit some people that maybe you think currently are outside of our reach. We just need to take a swing at the bat. Make sense? So a couple things I want to share here. So Bill is wanting to do some business format schools around Ohio coming up over the next like 6 to 12 months. There's a couple of kind of swirling things at the same time, but kind of quasi last minute, he's going to be doing one in conjunction with Guillermo on Saturday, August 16th down in Cincinnati. For some of you that have been down there before, it's kind of like a movie theater that Guillermo runs out. And I may or may not be there. I was just telling Ryan, I'm on the flyer as a speaker, but I'll be in Cincinnati this weekend. I'll be in Cincinnati next weekend. I don't know if I can do it a third weekend in a row, but we'll see. To be determined. But I know Ryan's likely going to go, and he's got some prospects he wants to get to that. But we're going to have some additional events as well. So as that firms up, I'm going to let you know. My plan, and one thing I want to build towards, just to provide a couple things to you guys. So one thing I want to do is I want to start with hosting one like killer big event a year up here in the Toledo area, and Bill's totally on board with that. Where we coordinate, teams from the Midwest to come in, and I got a lot of fun ideas around that. But so plan on that probably like April, May of next year. I want to kind of ramp up to that, get some things going as a team, and build out some of our people. But Guillermo and I keep missing each other, but I think we want to do kind of like 2 anchor events, like maybe he hosts something in the fall every year that's like a bigger event, bigger than the Saturday thing on the 16th. And then we host something in the spring. Schwederman and I have talked about that as well. Maybe he's in that rotation a little bit. So I think that's going to be something that I want to get back to that we used to do years ago that I think we got a lot of value out of, and that's everything from giving you guys speaking time to doing recognition and doing some fun stuff, maybe like some fun dinners or cocktail receptions. And that's a big part of the business, is building the community, building the culture, and giving new people a chance to see something on a bigger scale right here locally, to then hopefully get them to be able to do some traveling with us to TFA Exchange or certainly to WealthWave in Dallas. So the second thing is WealthWave Dallas is posted. The dates it's that last weekend in January. I don't have them right in front of me, but you guys can go and look at that. And so, that's something I'm already have on my radar, to do. And so my 2 next big events that I'm fully committed to are TFA Exchange in October and WealthWave Dallas. There's a couple of leadership stuff I'll be doing, but those 2 are team-wide events. So I definitely want to encourage, certainly if you have a Series 6 with us. I think TFJ Exchange is going to be super critical this year. For all sorts of reasons. Some fun team stuff I want to do out there. I think the training and exposure you're going to get, the updates, the product companies out there. I just think there's a lot going on in TFA, and it'll be years. It's an evolving process, but guys, if you're going all in on this gold rush, you got to get to events like this. And I think, by the way, you take yourself more seriously. I think when you're hey, I'm at these events. I'm in this game. Like, I just think there's more to it. And I think it's hard to cherry pick. It's hard to say, I'm going to just ramp up my phone calls a little bit, but I'm not sure I can go to that event, or I'm not sure I can get to the office, or, I think we have a lot of people that attend this training when it's convenient, but maybe if it's not convenient, they don't hop on. It's a little too easy just to skip, or we'll tell ourselves, I'll just catch the recording. But I just think there's a difference. Catching a recording is better than not at all. But it's not the same thing as being live, and being live on a Zoom isn't the same thing as being in person. And so on that hierarchy of meetings, I'm wanting to really ramp up, the in-person stuff that we do. And this Thursday is a perfect example. John's going to bring in a nice lunch. I don't know if he fully knows that yet, but we're going to do that thing up solid on Thursday, and spend some great time. And I got all kinds of people that want to come up and do office meetings and come see us. And And it's gonna be a fun time to be in business. So because I'm really thrilled with where we're at, but I'm not close to being satisfied. And I'm back, and I've been back this whole year. Maybe you guys have sensed it. I'm back in a hyper growth mode. I haven't been in this mode in a long time. I'm hungry to grow. I'm hungry to find new people that want to win and lock arms with them and get involved. And I'm hungry to get our team bigger. I want to get our impact bigger. And I want to become a dominant player in this community and then certainly in this company and help you guys get over a much bigger wall in terms of, I mean, we need more six-figure income earners on this team for sure. We need more SMBs on this team. We need you guys participating in more bonus checks and getting some of that money from the company. Like it's just I'm up the ante, you guys. So it's back to that idea of, you guys, I think you got it. We all have to do this differently, but you got to figure out in your own life how can I be simultaneously grateful for what I have, but hungry for more. That looks different. I'm not going to psychoanalyze that because it looks a little different for everybody. It took me a little while to get that dialed into my life, but once I did, it freed me up to be like, number one, I think anything that's healthy grows, and anything that's growing is healthy. And I think if it's not growing, if it's stagnating, if it's treading water, I just think it's unhealthy. I just think that's that's an irrefutable law of life. But I'm just thinking back to the two couples that came through my office last night. I mean, we are going to make a big impact on those two families for sure. That will be a monumental exponential influence in their lives measured over decades. And I mean, of course, it'll help me win, but when you can just connect all these dots in your mind that the more people I contact, the more people I help, the more people that win, the more I win, and all of that. And you just there's no end to that, right? I don't ever want to get off that train. So that's where I'm at, guys. Let's up our intensity on contacting. Let's not just assume, well, it's summer, blah, once kids are back in school, like all those lies we can tell ourselves, all those reasons that we can post up for why we're not doing more. And you guys, every day of my summer is different. I'm constantly in and out. My day got blown up this morning for something that's not relevant for this call. But the idea is like, I kind of love the challenge of like, how can I win anyway? Right? Like, how can I fit a meeting in here in between? I mean, Joe and I did a recruiting appointment. I'm literally in and out of my car, in and out of a venue, picking up one of my kids. I'm constantly reconnecting in my car, back on my phone, on video, off video. And it was just the only way of getting it done. Like the guy lives out of state, Joe's got a schedule, I've got a schedule. How can we win anyway? It's fun, man. I'm just having fun climbing this mountain. And I hope you guys have that same mentality. So anybody else have anything to share as we end?
I threw the details to that event in the chat.
Cool. Thanks, Ryan. How do
Guillermo sent that.
Yeah, can you post that on the Facebook page?
I can, yeah.
That'd be great. There we go. Apparently Pedro Falcone and Josh Wiederman are earning more than the rest of us. Just kidding.
He
Always
said
have
he was
fun with that stuff.
he
What?
said he was just told to put Phil's name on there too. So don't hold out.
No, I don't expect him to come up from Florida. So anyway. All right, you guys. Well, let's keep it rolling. We'll talk to y'all soon.